Okay, we're gonna start with introductions. I'm gonna have you start with your name,
Okay.
where you're from, and what you do.
Okay. Hi, I'm Brett Briggs. I am a Tintype photographer, and I'm from Salt Lake City, Utah. A tintype is one of the original forms of photography, created in 1851. It is a photograph that is made on a large piece of metal where you pour what's called collodion onto the sheet of metal and you grow silver crystals on it. Those silver crystals are sensitive to light, and when put in a camera and focused, it creates a quite stunning image that to this day cannot be replicated.
I met Brett from my friends who got a photo taken by him, and it just looked super sick. And I was like, where did you get that? Because I want one of me. And they're like, this guy named Brett, he's moving to this new studio. He does these tintype things. It's this old camera. It captures you in UV light, so it makes you look completely different. It shows all your hidden freckles. I was like, book it.
There are so many interesting quirks to it. Temperature, humidity, time of day, and so many other factors really play into how the image will turn out, and many of them are quite surprising.
We had a mutual friend, and she was collaborating with Brett, this was a few years ago, for different artistic photo shoots. And she asked me to come help out with styling one of the shoots. And so that was my first introduction to him.
There's a lot of science to it, unavoidably, knowing formulas and recipes and mixtures, but that truly isn't very interesting to me. I instead enjoy, a lot of the artistry. Pour a liquid from one edge of the image to the other, flow that across the plate without spilling anything. And the image, if you know where to look, it tells a story about how you created the image. I am able to see so much of how it was made just by looking at it, which is a really necessary skill you have to develop when making tintypes, because so much goes wrong so often.
Funny enough, we met him at like a farmer's market, kind of. Yeah, he was taking pictures there and we were just checking out what he was doing, and he asked us to come and get photos done.
I've always been somebody who loves arts and crafts time. In preschool, making the macaroni paintings was way better than learning math. So I've always enjoyed the creative side of life. I've always loved photography, mostly because I'm a terrible painter, but I kind of enjoy painting with reality. Tintype has a number of really fascinating aspects about it. On a technical level, it uses ultraviolet light to capture the image, which is outside of the visible spectrum that we're able to see. Because of that, it renders skin tone in a very, very different light than what we're used to seeing. It brings out tones and textures. It brings out sun damage and freckles and other things that really tell a story on the human body that is impossible to capture through film or digital.
We were doing a film, kind of a gothic horror short film, and so I just kind of hopped on Google one day as we were still in early pre-production for the film, because I knew that we wanted a old Locket photo, but I also knew that I wanted the poster and promotionals for the movie to be like tintypes. He was the first website that popped up here in Salt Lake. There's a few others that I'd seen, but his was the first one I reached out to because I just loved the work that I saw. And he was the first one too that just emailed me right back. And from there, we just were emailing back and forth, and he thought the idea of what we were doing was just so cool. And he was just like, how can I help?
The beauty of human interaction is the connection between two people is always going to be different. I think I've shot so far this year over 600 tintypes, and each of those photographs, I've either met individuals or small groups of people where I've gotten to know them in a really intimate setting. I think having your picture taken is a very vulnerable thing, and having the opportunity to be able to work with people while they're putting their vulnerable self forward is a really, really meaningful experience for me. And I love the human connection. I think that's truly what draws me to the portraiture. Part of that is I love to meet people where they're at. Some people come totally disinterested in the process and they just want a cool image. And I love that. We get to like really focus on, you know, what's your vision? How can we accomplish that? Other people come in totally intimidated, have almost no interest in being photographed, but they're fascinated with the chemistry, with the history, with the mechanics of photography. And it just becomes an opportunity where we get to really nerd out. And the byproduct is I'm able to distract them enough that we're able to take a photograph that takes them out of their, you know, kind of self-conscious space and, you know, really find them in that space where they're really interested in something in their, you know, they just become alive with the fascination of something new or something that they know a lot about.
Brett was really cool because I really found that kinship between me and him in terms of like, I love leatherworking, I love woodworking, metalworking. It's the craft. It's imbuing your soul into your projects. And that's half of why I wanted to go get this photo taken, is those type of guys that specialize in this have the exact same thing where they're passionate about these tintypes and all the values it brings and why it's historical and why it's the most durable type of photography you can do still today. And so that's where that little bit of like craftsmanship, kinship is what I was like really excited to work with Brett on.
It was a great experience. Like, he made it super fun. I loved seeing the process. He made me comfortable. And then like the photo that he got was fantastic. I absolutely loved it. And I don't like a lot of photos of myself, but I love that one.
He's a really talented photographer.
Mm-hmm. And he's very informative if you ever have questions about the photos or just want to know how the process goes.
He just seems like a really chill, kind human.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, Brett's phenomenal. Brett is one of the kindest people I think I've ever met. I just love just how like genuine he is, which I feel like fits perfectly to what Tintype photography is. And the fact that he's like so passionate about it, he's one of the greatest people I think I've ever worked with. And I'm honestly like dying to work with him again. I'm trying to find an excuse to work with him again.
Okay.
I think that's good. Cool.
Cool. Awesome. You guys are so great. This is like, I feel so much more at ease than I usually do when I'm doing one of these.